7 p.m. Pledge of allegiance, please. Excuse me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Fire evacuation and emergency. If there is an emergency or fire, you can exit the building through the doors in the back of the room, or to my left, out those doors, take a left, go down the stairs and away from the building. Roll call.
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Here.
Kevin Zorda.
Here.
Virginia Higley. Here. Kelly Hemler.
Here.
Dylan Bridge.
Here.
Ann Collins. Absent. Ken Kaufman.
Here.
Chris Burnell.
Here.
And Robert Gillespie. Absent.
Okay. Public communications and petitions. Is there anybody in the audience want to speak regarding items not on the agenda? Again, anybody want to speak on items not on the agenda? Seeing none. Correspondence, I didn't have any. Minutes of preceding meetings, we have October 6th.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of October 6, 2025.
Second.
Kevin and Kelly, any discussion? No, roll call? How's this gonna work? Okay,
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
yes,
Kevin Zorda.
Abstain.
Virginia Higley. This is the site walk.
yeah.
Abstain. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Abstain.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris was there.
Seat Chris, I want to seat Chris, sorry.
Chris Burnell.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
You abstain. Okay.
you can seat both alternates. Ann's also out, so you got 2 member spots open.
Oh, well, Bob is the other alternate.
Bob was the alternate.
Oh, okay.
So, thank you for that, though. So it looks like 4 in favor, 3 abstain, motion passes. Ooh, good.
Close.
That was a close one.
I will also make a motion to approve the minutes of October 7th, 2025.
Second.
Second. Is that Ken? Okay, it's Kevin and Ken, first and second. Any changes, modifications, concerns? Yeah. Seeing none, roll call?
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Abstain.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris Burnell.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain, motion passes. Okay. Next would be a town attorney report, which we have none. Continued public hearings is none. New public hearings is none. Next is old business. IW 717, 75 Oliver Road, modification of a wetland permit for a single-family home. Huron Homes LLC, applicant owner, map 47, lot 63, R44. And this is continued from the September 16th meeting. Could you just come forward? State your name and addresses for the record, please. Hi.
Good evening, Reinhard von Hollander, 14 Brainerd Road, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Richard Case, attorney, Avon, Connecticut.
Hi, welcome. Welcome. Do you want to give us an outline of what you're doing?
We have with us our LS and PE, who will pretty much be doing the presentation.
Oh,
So,
okay.
he's on via Zoom.
Oh, he's on there.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So, Jim, why don't you take it away?
Could he state his name and it? Jim, could you state your name and address for the record? Can we hear him?
Jim, you on? Can we give him access?
Jim, you on?
Unmute yourself.
Is he on mute?
He may be muted on his.
I mean, on his side. Oh. Could you call him quick or something?
We can see you. Yes. No snoozing
I can call.
I'm going to call him, too.
Hello?
Hi there.
There he is.
Okay, so you are. Okay, we introduced you, so we're giving it to you.
Okay,
Oh, now we can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
we can.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
He can't hear us.
He can't hear us.
His speakers are probably
Hello?
Yeah.
down. His volume is down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Look at Georgie.
We-
Leave your phone on.
Yep.
and then you can hear
Consider
through.
turning your volume up on your desktop.
I can try, yeah. Let's see. Microphone, speakers.
You couldn't hear us. We were telling you we could hear you.
Oh, okay. Then the speakers, huh?
Maybe just, we could hear him well, he can't hear us, so.
Forget about questions, then.
Maybe I have to,
Try.
okay, let me speak, and I'm not quite sure why my camera's getting, well, if you can hear me,
Just talk.
Ask him to just tell us his name and address.
Can you tell us your name and address, Jim, for the record? Can you give your presentation?
You can tell us his name and address.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell us.
here.
Are you there?
Let's see.
Technology.
Make our lives easier.
We can hear him, so just ask him to do his presentation.
You can just talk to us and
There.
then you can.
We can hear you,
Oh
Jim.
dear, where the hell did everything go?
There, okay,
Okay.
we'll get there.
Yep.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Georgie, you're not seeing it out.
I'm not so sure.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yep.
Thank you, we got it. It's here.
Yep. We got it.
So that,
Are you on?
can you see
Yeah,
the,
I can see your screen.
okay. The purpose of this screen is to identify the lot, the house, driveway, and a crossing of the driveway, and a drainage area leading to that driveway, which is 1.3 acres. We were able to confirm that Post Office Road does not drain into that area, and half of Oliver Road does drain. And we basically sized a pipe that I'm going to show you over here in a larger version. So here is the house, the driveway, the pipe, and I would like to show how we start with an elevation at the road. We go up to go above the pipe at a 2% grade. We then go down at a 2% grade to a low point, and then we go up till we get to the house. I did listen to on YouTube the last meeting, and I appreciated the concern of the commission to make sure that any water activity here would not have a impact on any future owner of this house. So what I did is I created a profile through the driveway. This is the road, and you could see on an exaggerated scale the crown of the road, how it goes up to the high point in the middle, goes down to a low point, and then it will go up at a 2% grade into driveway to a high point here. And that would be over a pipe that we'll describe shortly that will go underneath the driveway. And then the driveway would go down to a low point before it comes up to the elevation on the house. Now, the red line is a level line, level with the slab. And you can see that, first of all, the pipe would take away any water. Failing that, if the pipe is totally clogged, the low point of the drive would take the water, as well as the road itself. So, as built, this slab elevation will never be negatively impacted by the drainage in the front of the lot. So this tan area, this drainage area, has been engineered to cross this driveway in a pipe. So the pipe will enter here.
Never mind.
So underneath the driveway, there's an existing stone depression over here to kind of encourage water to infiltrate into the ground, which is good. The pipe would discharge to the second stone area, and it will then go south. And again, here is the pipe. And note that the slab elevation is over 119. So even in this green area within the lot itself, it drops to 116 here and 114 here. And I've confirmed that as I go further away, it keeps on dropping. So we have a relatively small 1.3 acre area that is going through this pipe. And once it's on the other side of the driveway, it can very easily go off the site. So that was the major concern in terms of taking care of the storm drainage. Based on the plans, we would build this driveway, establish vegetations per the plans on both sides of the driveway. And I believe those changes will take care of any wetlands related drainage and treatment for the Wetlands Commission. And be happy to hear if there are any details you'd like me to go into further.
Yeah, the north side of the house, it shows,
He's gonna have to relay the question to him.
he might be able to answer
Yeah.
this. INV is 118.5, what is that?
Hold up, the 118.5 elevation, the invert, that's an invert. elevation. Is that correct, Jim?
Um,
Can you hear us now, or are you hearing me on the phone?
I am hearing you on the phone, unfortunately. The pipe would have an invert of 17.4 going in, 17 going out. So that would be the elevations going in and out.
Is the-
And
Okay, what's the 118.5 coming out of the north side of the house?
118.5 coming out the north side of the house.
INV equals 118.5.
Oh, okay. There are other pipes associated with the roof drainage that go down over here. But that is unrelated to this pipe, which is described in the cloud.
Where's the 180?
Well, it's the roof drain.
The roof drain.
That comes out here.
It goes down.
Oh, I see, it goes way over here.
Discharge pipe. So there's another pipe in the yard?
Yeah, the drainage pipe to the, from the back of the house
House.
for the,
Right. Yeah.
Are we talking about the sewer? Are you seeing the pipe number 9, pipe number 8?
no, pipe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Here, we'll show you. Come up for a second.
It's right on the north side, back of the house.
Pipe number 9, pipe number 8. Clean out.
Yeah.
These are sections of pipe that go into cleanouts.
Shoot, 2 of 4? 2 of 4?
This is the sewer.
She's talking about,
There, north side.
That's a grade,
on sheet 2,
that's a grade line.
sheet 2. You're looking at the right date of plans
This is the one, latest ones in our packet.
on their.
Oh, this actually says March 4th.
You have the wrong version.
Oh, pipes 1, 2, 3, they're for the other lot.
Friday.
Yeah, received October 14th.
So the north side pipe that you're looking at, that's the sewer easement on 100 post office.
No, it's coming out of the back of the
No,
house.
on the back of the house.
Coming out of the back of the house, that's pipe section number 9, there's the clean out number 9.
No, it says pipe 1, 2, 3. Come out of the house is 1.
That's on 100 post office.
No, it's not. Come here.
Yeah, I got it. 1, 2, 3.
I turned it around, now I can't see it, wait a minute. Turn it back. Yeah, see, pipe, it's the house, so it's pipe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
North side, all the way here, and then on the
Okay.
Okay,
yeah, that's a 4-inch sewer.
sewer. Perfect,
That's all. we need.
okay. Thank you.
Reinhardt. You look at the March 4th plan.
We got it.
Huh?
We got it. It was it was this.
Well, that's the one we got.
This is one we got Friday.
That's weird because we only had the first 14 copies. This would have been the first round that you got. Are you sure you grabbed the right one?
It says received October 14th.
And this was in my packet on
Yeah,
Friday.
Yeah.
Would you like a new plan? I have a couple sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll share this side and this way.
This is where the iPad would come in handy.
Yeah.
I see the confusion, because this is March 4th, it shows that pipe.
Okay, so the set you got is.
What's that? That's the old one?
I have no idea.
So this sheet was actually included with the revised plan.
This also says March 4th.
There's
This says March
It is.
the revisions.
So the new plans that you dropped off on October 14th did include those March sheets.
Okay. So showing the chronology, I would assume.
This is the new set? Do they have the new set?
These are the ones I have.
Huh? Do they have the new set?
Okay, so yesterday, Janice Poulin from the building department, she went out there for, I guess, part of an inspection. And she sent me a picture showing an overflow from the pond, detention pond, retention pond, located on the east side of the driveway. It's in the handout that you have. You can see that it's on page 2. It runs, and it's an overflow outside of the actual pond itself. And that is supposed to be the higher portion at 118, as you can see in my narrative there. So it appears that most of the water is not flowing towards the west, which would be the lower elevations. It seems to be flowing more so towards the east, outside of that larger of the two retention ponds. There's also measurements. I measured there are approximate measurements, but those are the sizes of the retention ponds there. Where the larger one is approximately 41 feet by 22 feet on the west side, and the east side it's about 31 feet wide. The retention pond on the west side of the driveway is approximately 26 feet long and 17 feet wide. And that's measuring to the outside of the deposited rocks. But, and I couldn't see any of the pipe obviously is under the existing rocks that are there. But it just seems that the flow doesn't match the topography. It's flowing more towards the east than it is towards the west where it should be because of the reported elevations on the plans.
Are you asking for a response? Okay. I apologize, but I have difficulty hearing over the phone. But I assume you're talking about the area where the pipe crossed?
So you don't have copies of these pictures?
Well, I have the packet.
Oh, sorry. These were pictures taken yesterday and today.
Were they in part of the information pack?
He's going, Georgie's going to email them to you right now.
Very good.
Is this the original?
So one of my concerns last time was that this pipe had been covered over by the fiber, the weed, I call it weed mat, but the barrier, and then the stone put over it. And that was a concern I had, that it might impede the flow, especially if it's over both sides.
Okay, send receive all.
This has got to be the east side, right? What's this?
Side up, farther east.
So Kevin, if I can answer your question, if you flip to page S1,
Yeah.
if you flip to page S1, dated August 28th, 25, with a revision date up in the top right, okay, that's what we have to key on. The top right above Jim's stamp, okay, you look in that block, the title block there, the top of the title block,
Yeah,
you'll see the revision date of 10/8/25 pipe driveway.
yeah, I see that,
And
yeah.
if you look down at the plan to the left, you'll see that the pipe was removed from the entrance to the driveway that it was designed originally, and that plan was taken from the subdivision plan. That was the original subdivision plan from way back during the Tyler litigation,
Yeah,
okay? So we put that in as built, and then we kind of all shook our heads and, said, why are we doing this? This made no sense whatsoever. The pipe was then moved after the last meeting and the site visit. The pipe was moved to connect the two drainage areas, okay? That, just for the record, I enhanced by putting 5 to 8 inch round river rock in
yeah,
versus just having open water. Because this watershed, if the history of the watershed is, this watershed comes from Post Office, okay? And Oliver, the intersection, the crown of Post Office, as Jim pointed out, it's a huge crown, okay? And Oliver, same thing. So the crown from Oliver and Post Office is east facing.
yeah,
And so half of Oliver and half of Post Office flows into this area and always did.
right,
By removing the trees to increase the sight line, okay, which was part of the approval, now we've removed the vegetation in that area, which was always overgrown, and it was always, the water was sitting there the same as you're seeing it now in this picture. It's just open body of water now because there's no trees around it and all the vegetation's been cleared. And we were also cognizant of the fact and respectful of the fact that we couldn't fill that area as part of the approval. So what we could remove, and that's pretty much all we could do. We could remove, grade what we removed for stumps, and that's it. And that's what's there. Is it,
I understand that. I just want to make sure that there's a flow across the driveway.
so there is a flow across the driveway now. We're gonna remove the RCP, the 12-inch reinforced concrete pipe from
Yeah.
the edge of the driveway now, which is about 2 feet off and about a 118 elevation. We're gonna move it into the middle of the two pipes and connect those two pipes. So that it'll flow east-west. The actual west side gets less from the existing drainage ditches that are there. It gets less than the east side, with the driveway bifurcating both those.
Okay. So is that this plan? No, that's the
Well,
original.
well, yeah, because these are, no, that's.
No, that's the original.
Yeah, could you verify the new pipe hasn't been put in yet?
The new pipe has not been put in because we're here for this modification.
Right, okay.
All right, so do we have that on it? Because this looks like the same location.
May I,
S1,
I think,
the new
I
pipe.
think it's right here.
this is Jim, the engineer. Can you see the pictures on the shared screen?
Yep.
Okay, and they do show water contained within these two stone areas by design. They're trying to encourage infiltration into the ground. Now, the issue is that as the water leaves the one on the high side, right now it has to go over the ground to get to the one at the low side. And we're going to solve that by the installation of the pipe. So it is this pipe right here that is the purpose of this inland wetlands application. So on the side with the can, there will be a new flared end, and then there will be a new 12-inch pipe that's going to extend all the way to the little depression on the low end. And right now, where the tree line is, there will have overflow from the stone area going towards the wetlands, as it always has. So the purpose of this is to have the driveway create a high point over the pipe to encourage the water to get into the pipe. At the same time, create a second low point in the driveway. So in case the pipe is clogged for any reason, the water would flow over that low point and people would know enough to maintain the pipe. At the same time, the low point protects the house, because the house is higher. It should also be noticed that my low point is the same elevation as the gutter at the road, which actually affords a second overflow point. And in both cases, people would know enough to clean out the pipe. But it is a 12-inch pipe, which does not clog easily like an 8-inch pipe would.
Suck in the water and go back onto the road there, if there's too much?
No, because the pipe is set at elevation 17, and the center of the road is elevation 19.4, so that this low point in the driveway would be the first spot that it would go over, because it's the way it's designed.
I got a couple questions for you. You're saying it's going to be a 12-inch pipe, correct?
Yes, sir.
And a 12-inch pipe is going to require what? At least 12 inches on top of it before the red warning?
Let me go to that detail. Now, this is a chainsaw cut through the driveway. So it's that's why you can see the house. There's the roof of the house. There's the slab of the house. And this pencil line is the top of the surface of the driveway. And notice how I have stone around this pipe going down to 3 feet below the grade. Now, the purpose of that is this type of stone does not frost heave. So by getting the bottom below the typical frost line, this pipe will be stable over time. This stone will also allow a certain amount of water to seep around it, but we really don't count on that. But it is good practice to have the stone totally around the pipe. It's the more expensive technique is the better technique.
I don't really have a copy of what I'm looking at, but my question is, to the top of the pipe, to the top of the driveway, is how many inches?
The top of the pipe is at elevation 118. Can you see the circles I do? And the driveway grade right there is 19.4. So there's 1.4 feet of cover over the top of the pipe.
4 feet, you mean inches? You said 19.4 feet above the top of the pipe.
Yeah, so 19.4 minus 118 would be 1.4 feet, approximately 16 inches.
Okay, thank you. I don't think it's going to work.
So I have a question. My question, has the town seen these updated plans? Because our site plans,
Yes, the report that Stephen did was based off the latest revisions stamped in office on
I
October 14th.
don't understand the question, please.
Oh, I was speaking to Georgie, the staff. So this latest design.
Yeah, so I'm covering for Stephen, so excuse me while I catch up on everything. Yeah. But Stephen did his memo based off those plans, and I included a supplemental detail sheet that you got on your desk, just trying to fill in some of those blanks. There's been a lot of iterations of plans and a lot of information going around, so just trying to help keep us organized. Yeah.
Thank you. Did anybody have any?
How about these concerns?
Yeah, we gotta ask that. So I have concerns with these basins, retention ponds that we're doing. I'm gonna put a condition that we need to have maintenance plans. They need to be on the site plans and the deeds. They have to be inspected a few times a year.
Who's inspecting them?
And who's inspecting them and,
Maintenance plans for both stone beds and the pipe. Okay.
yeah. I also, they seem kind of unsafe if people just walking around the yard.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, but if you have little ones though, they seem kind of, I don't know, can they put something around it to make it, I don't know, it just seems unsafe, but I know that's not us. Oh, what work do you have remaining? So you haven't done that part, right?
I'm sorry.
You haven't, what work is remaining? So you haven't moved the pipe?
The pipe hasn't been moved. That's the only piece that
That you have to do?
we have to,
Do?
that we're here
Well, yeah,
for.
for the-
We're here for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, plus the pipe, retention basins and the pipe. Yeah. Okay. Where are we gonna put the snow? Snow piles when they plow the driveway?
There's plenty of area around the driveway to put snow.
Yeah.
Plenty of area to east, to the
So
west.
when it melts, it's gonna drain.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just
yeah.
gonna, just like the rainfall now, it's
Okay.
just gonna go over land
Okay,
and ends up at the low spot.
okay. that's not gonna.
Unless you want a maintenance plan board.
Yeah, go ahead, whatever you want.
The drainage structure for the
The pipe or for the driveway.
ponds.
Go ahead.
ponds and the
Going
pipes.
this way. Oh, I'm just curious what vegetation that you're going to be landscaping with. I mean, is it going to be anything that could help absorb some of this water?
Yeah, so I did a planting as soon as I was able to, and the weather started to get cool. The challenge is the species that I placed in here, wildflower, cattails, those types of things, which are wetlands, friendly. The amount of rainfall or the amount of water that this area takes isn't conducive to that sort of vegetation, because that vegetation needs damp soils, but not completely wet soil, wet or water bodies. So that storm event that we had on the 20th was a 0.55. It was, we had a total of 0.55. That'll take a couple of days to completely dissipate
Okay.
from that area. And I planted it personally myself because I was pretty excited about it, because it has worked in the past really well in other areas that have been created similar. And it's unfortunate. I don't think that the vegetation that you're speaking of that I tried to.
So do you have a plan B?
I don't know that there's a plan B.
Okay.
I don't have a plan B at this point, other than just to vegetate the area with grass around these areas.
That should help a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, none of these areas were designed in the original plan. As I've stated in the past, these areas were designed to enhance the aesthetic, really nothing else. So what we could have just left there was what we were seeing on the east side, outside of the stone area, which would have just been an area that collects rainwater and then dissipates over time the way it had been before the vegetation with the stumps were removed and it was just graded over. That's how it would have looked aesthetically. It would have just been, from the pictures that we had up, it would have just been water that would have been laying there until it becomes absorbed into the ground. And just for clarification for Donna, there was no water that has ever gone between these two basins. It's the driveway is such the elevation height that it's never gone between. It's never and I said it was silly when we put the original RCP, the concrete pipe in, because it bifurcated those two areas. So it cut the west side off from the east side. So this is a best practice plan that Jim has proposed, which we thought right along, which would have been a better practice, because then you can, this high side might drain faster, on the east side may drain and flow into and sort of level that out through that 12-inch reinforced concrete pipe with the flared ends on them. So that's kind of like what we think is a much better practice versus what's currently there. But just to be clear, it just always went there, and it always just dissipated into the ground. It was just heavily vegetated there.
Do you have any thoughts, Kevin, on plantings?
And I'll listen, to whatever it is.
There are things you could definitely do, but I'm not going to call things off on my head until I check, for sure. But there are definitely things, and I was going to ask you about, instead of this, you could have maybe gone to a rain garden kind of look, but it's probably a little too much water at this point to do that. So you're really looking at spring planting. I don't think there's going to be much you're going to be able to do now anyways.
The real fix here is for the town to come in and put storm drains along and gutters along Oliver. That's the real fix, because this property is taking all that water from the town road and then it gets dumped there. So
Yeah,
I'm dealing with a town problem, literally, that's created by the town.
You have to go to the council.
That's a different meeting.
I got,
But my biggest concern was just to make sure that the water could go through in a heavy rainfall event. I think the new pipe will do that better. And I do like that it's in stone, almost gonna act like a dry well as well there. So I think that'll help make sure, as long as we have a maintenance plan in there to make sure that whoever owns it cleans that out. I mean, that's gonna get leaves in there, and you're gonna clog that up, and then it's gonna be non-functional at all. So that was my biggest concern, and I think you've dealt with that.
we can certainly include that plan. That's not a big stretch.
They would want to do that anyways,
Yeah.
because otherwise
It's for their own protection, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George, did you have anything, or Rick?
Yeah. So in my supplemental report, there's just some like clarification questions for the applicant. The stormwater report noted sheet flow will be primarily used for the stormwater runoff for the majority of the site, and then it mentioned that it will be slowly released into wetlands and nearby pervious areas, but it didn't specify what those pervious areas were. I wasn't sure if it meant landscape or a gravel area, so just some clarification on what those pervious areas are. And then the only other concern I had, which I'm not sure if Jim already addressed this or not, was the drainage report notes the revised disturbance at 14.588 where 15.624 was approved. We're a little bit concerned with that statement just because when you look at the plan, they're now cutting into that wetland that was originally supposed to remain undisturbed. So just some verification to verify those calculations should be discussed with the agency. And then I edited the motion, took out conditions 3 and 6 since we typically don't bond for single-family homes, and there's no planting plan unless the commission would like to now include a planting plan with additional planting species based off that last conversation. And then that is all that we changed. Now your motion now includes the exact changes for the grading, the drainage, and the additional minor changes to the driveway. That's pretty much it.
Out of 3, include planting plan.
Yeah, but he's not, maybe not doing.
Well, he's gonna plant, but so, eventually, in spring or something,
Okay.
yeah.
With the as-built.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so could you explain, I'm curious about that too, is the, how the footprint changed of the wetlands?
I personally didn't, the engineers did the calculation there. So Jim, can you speak to that?
Repeat the question for me. It was difficult to hear.
Yeah.
So in your, it claims that there was a decrease.
Oh, okay. In my submittal, we withdrew that decrease line, and we're happy to agree with Stephen's note that it is neither increased nor decreased, but what was originally proposed. I'll put that on the record.
There, sorry about that. So the wetland disturbance is the same as originally?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So that will be corrected.
So that would be corrected on the notes and stuff?
I would make a condition that
Yeah.
that corrective report be submitted to planning.
Yeah.
That'd be good. And one other thing is I did notice when I've been by there a couple times. So you leave the driveway and go towards Oliver Road. And there looks like there's a clearing was cut, like to the backyard or whatever. Is that something new that you did, or
No, that's
was that always there?
That's on the plan for the 1-inch water service.
Oh, okay. So, okay, thank you. Georgie, is this still true on your page? 5 of 8? Staff comments, October 21st?
Yeah, I did
Number
check
one?
them. I changed the planning one to reflect what my original questions were, and then engineering is still the same.
Okay. Oh, could you, Georgie, would you be able to tell us what the other, from IW 699, the original, what our site-specific conditions were?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Because we're going to
Yep.
keep those.
So on IW 699, there were 3 specific conditions. One was land records filing number for the correct volume and page will be added to the final plans per note 10A for the 2021 lot line reconfiguration, which when check prints came in for 699, it was verified and that change was made. 2 was environmental sensitive signage shall be installed along the wetland boundary, which is also seen on the proposed plan. And then the last one was about condition 6 not applying, which was the plan noting plant type and number of plants to be placed in affected area.
So we'll just say,
So we're going to keep that, or are we going to add them?
I don't really think we need to keep them, especially since their plan shows proposed environmental sensitive signage. So now the signage becomes part of the approval. So what you can do instead is include site specifics for the maintenance plans for both storm beds and pipes, with maintenance conducted twice annually, and then perhaps have a covenant within the deed.
Anything else? Anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns? All set. Okay.
And then I just want to also make it clear, when the applicant does the final plans, the notice of decision will be replaced by the notice of decision for this application.
so it's not us.
Yeah, correct. Rick, we don't have a cease and desist on this?
No, the cease and desist is strictly through zoning.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So,
I actually have a last-minute question.
go ahead.
Sorry. So say this plan gets approved, revised, and the maintenance operations to go through, and the area still floods after this happens. What measures get taken after that? Or does it go back to us to get remediated, or is it up to planning and zoning, or how does that work if it doesn't get?
yeah, the homeowner could be called to meet with us because it could be a violation of that.
Okay. Gotcha.
We tend to get involved if we get a complaint for stormwater runoff on neighboring properties. Flooding, if it's just on the private property, we don't really get involved. If it was a flood zone, then definitely, depending on the work. But typically, unless we get a complaint or there's clear flooding going off the property, then we get more involved from a zoning standpoint.
Yeah, if there's a heavy rain, it's going to flood. It always has. So it's, yeah.
So the town of Enfield becomes responsible for any, like, cleanup or anything that has to happen, or?
It goes by the property owner.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like your water is going onto my
Yeah.
property type. It's a civil matter, essentially.
Okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
All right. I will make a motion to approve a wetlands permit for IW number 71775 Oliver Road, modification of IW number 699 for a single-family home for grading, drainage, and minor changes. Heron Homes LLC, applicant owner, map 47, lot 63, R44 zone. With the following site-specific conditions: maintenance plans shall be included in covenants in the deeds to the retention ponds and 12-inch pipe and conducted twice annually. Number 2, the as-built plans will include a proposed planting plan. Number 3, a corrected wetland disturbance report will be included in the final plans.
Second.
Is that everything?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Second, Kelly?
Yes.
Any more discussion? Concerns? Sorry, any more discussions, concerns?
No.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Christopher No.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Forget your phone.
Yeah, your phone.
Oh, now he can hear us.
Madam Chairman, did you get his name and who he is?
No.
It's Jim Sakonchik of Cratcherton Jones, Southington, Connecticut.
Thank you.
James, known him a long time.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for letting us know. Okay. So that would be it. Next would be our new business. It will be IW 719 Parsons Road, application for a wetland permit for a new single-family home within the Upland Review Area, Our Town Home Buyers LLC, applicant owner, map 11, lot 18, R33 zone. Excuse me. Parsons. Hi.
Hello.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Chris Marslick, Our Town Home Buyers, 115 Parsons Road, Enfield, Connecticut.
Thank you, welcome. Could you give us a little description?
Looking to build a single-family home with an attached 4-bay garage on Parsons Road across from 115 Parsons Road. The lot does not have a house number yet. And we've already done the tree clearing, which we came before the council previously, and we're ready to start building.
So I did a review of this application, and I actually did a supplemental report that I put on your table tonight. Did you get that?
No, we just got the one for.
Yeah, it's just for this one.
Okay, I'll just read it then. That's weird. Okay, so this applicant applied for a wetlands permit. However, due to the proximity of the location of activities being over 120 feet away from the Connecticut River, staff actually recommends that the agency make a motion to reduce the wetlands permit to an agent approval. Something to take note of as to why an agent approval is better suited is mostly because of the soil types out there. They're very sandy, eudorthins. Water is very able to drain through those soils out there, and just because they're over 100 feet away from the CT River, even though our upland is 200 feet. So the motion would change should the commission agree with that recommendation, which I can give you my computer to read into the record. But other than that, it's a single-family home of very minimum disturbance. Stephen did the overall technical report in the background. It's a 1,359 square foot home with a breezeway for a 1,152 square foot garage. There were no significant departmental comments, but other than that, it was a pretty standard application for a single-family home with no stormwater concerns.
So there's no need for erosion controls?
There always will have erosion controls.
Okay.
That's a standard zoning requirement.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, I don't see any reason why.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why. Because you got their property, you have the road, and then you have more land, and then you have the river. So,
Should you agree with that recommendation?
Yep, yep.
Anybody have any questions or concerns? Or?
We'd still get a final plan, of course.
Train comes by.
I had a question.
The train's
on
not
the
that bad, you
garage.
get used to it.
You get used to it.
Yeah. George has a question.
If you have a 4-car garage, will it impact the wetlands if there's a lot of work going on in the garage?
It's a personal garage.
Yeah.
It's just for storage. It's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're in the Upland Review area.
Yeah, I know.
So, and the,
Yeah.
The closest
Figured
way.
I'd
because they're
mention it.
really because they're close to the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd kill for a 4-car garage. Thank you.
It's really because they're 100 and something feet away from the river.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
It's quite significant. If they were under 100 feet from the river, well, we'd look at it a little bit differently. But since he's over 100, basically at 128, I mean, it's a pretty minimal impact. So
I didn't think it would, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to mention it, just
Yeah.
in case. So
And there's a
thank
lot
you.
in between. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns?
All right, I will make a motion to authorize an agent approval for IW number 719 Parsons Road, application for a single-family home within the Upland Review area of the Connecticut River. Our Town Home Buyers LLC, applicant owner, map 11, lot 18, R33 zone.
Second.
Is that Ken?
Thank
So
you.
we have Kevin and Ken seconded. Any more concerns, questions? No? Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin Savinsky,
Yes.
Kevin Zorda,
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler,
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman,
Yes.
Chris Renaud.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much. Good luck with your house.
All right, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Good luck
too.
with your garage. I'm jealous.
Next we have is new business AAA 143, 37 Oxford Drive, application for agent approval for an in-ground pool with the Upland Review area. Juliana Pools, applicant Carmen Santinello, owner map 58, lot 284, R33.
Hello again.
Hello again.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Is this on? I don't know if it's...
Yeah.
Okay. Daniela Vassar, Giuliano's Pools, 321 Talcottville Road in Vernon, Connecticut.
Hi.
Hi.
Just give us a little overview.
Sure. So we're looking to do an in-ground pool with about 4 feet of patio around and a 4-foot safety fence. The pool would be backfilled with septic sand. Wetlands are about 64, 65 feet away, but they're off the property. So we would be using silt fence and straw wattles to protect any soils from traveling. There will be no stockpiling. We will be putting the material right onto dump trucks and hauling out, and then bringing in that septic sand to backfill.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See anything? Anybody's questions, concerns, comments?
Just the usual one. Will they be stockpiling chemicals for the pool, or will that be in the garage?
Likely in the garage, but I will say the homeowner elected to do a mineral system for their chemicals, so has 0.5 parts per million, which is actually less than drinking water, so.
Perfect,
Yes.
thank you.
That's nice.
And actually, the filter also is a cartridge filter, so there's no backwashing on it, so they could just take it off and hose it off with their garden hose.
Perfect. Great.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Madam Chair?
Any other questions? Yes.
I just want to add, so this is a simple agent approval. The only reason why we couldn't approve it through the building permit is because the agent approval section in the regs only allows us to do above-ground pools. So I just want to point this out as a great example for an in-ground pool may also be considered on certain factors, of course, and then that factor would probably be more dependent on soil type.
Thank you.
Nice thing is that this company is always very thorough in their
Yep, they're pretty
approach, and we
familiar with our
appreciate
process
it.
now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But they're so far behind. I went down there last month. They said they can't put it in until next year. I'm not happy.
But you won't get taxed for it this
You won't
year.
get frozen in the winter.
And it's true.
That's a good sign. That means they do.
I'm behind with my permitting, so.
All right, I will make a motion to approve AAA number 14337 Oxford Drive, application for an agent approval for an in-ground pool within the upland review area, Giuliano Pools, applicant Carmen Santinello, owner, map 58, lot 284, R33 zone.
Second.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Give it to Ginny.
I heard hers. So Kevin and then Kelly seconded. Any more discussion, comments, concerns? Okay, roll call?
Donna Corbin Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris Renault.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I've been seeing a lot of those trucks up in Vermont.
In New Hampshire now as well, yes.
He moved it over?
We have a store up in New Hampshire now, so they've been selling more jobs up that way as well.
I'm talking personal property.
Okay, next is item C, IW 720, 14 West Shore Drive. Modification of IW 703 wetland permit for a single-family home, Chelsea Aiken, applicant owner, map 80, lot 49, R33 zone, LOD. I think we're gonna need to add the cease and desist, so we can discuss that as well.
Yeah.
To the, you add that? Make a motion to add it to our,
I will make a motion to include the cease and desist for this property in the agenda under new business 11C2.
Second.
that was Kelly, okay. So we get Kevin and then Kelly. Any discussion? Roll call?
Donna Corbin Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris Renault.
Yes.
Okay, 7 in favor, motion passes. So we added the cease and desist, so we can discuss that at the same time. Thank you. Welcome, and state your name and address for the records.
Good evening, Attorney Wendell Avery from Stafford, Connecticut. With me tonight is Eric Peterson from Gardner and Peterson, our engineer. Also in attendance in the audience is the owner, Chelsea Aiken.
Okay.
And we're here tonight for an application for revision to a previously approved application of IW 703, which was approved in May of last year. That application was for the construction of a single-family home and the associated landscaping. During the construction, the applicant exceeded the scope of work a little bit with some additional landscaping, which resulted in the cease and desist order and the application before you tonight.
Thank you. Want to review what you're doing?
Yeah, I guess that's my job, yep.
Okay, that's your job.
So, my name's Eric Peterson. I'm a professional engineer and land surveyor, registered in the state of Connecticut with Gardner and Peterson Associates of Tolland. And I review the recordings of your last couple of meetings to, in hopes really to address your concerns that you voiced at those meetings regarding this application and this construction. So I wanted to just talk about the easy and obvious ones first. The owner has stopped irrigating with water from the lake. So hopefully we can just cross that off the list there. The owner has stated previously that they only fixed the cover of the existing propane tank that was near the water, and that tank does still remain. And I'd like to actually clarify on the original plan, not the original plan, but the first as-built that we submitted, we did locate a new propane tank in the front, so I just assumed that they took out the old one. That's why we didn't show them both. But in reality, they are both there, as depicted on the current plans that you guys have. So after the second meeting, I believe it was the second meeting, or after the first meeting, the owner moved the hay bales that were at the end of the patio up on top of the patio as directed by this agency. And then, obviously, once all the construction is complete, we will provide a complete final as-built plan to the zoning department. So in regard to your other concerns, I do agree that we do need to protect this lake from sedimentation during construction and also from an increase in runoff from construction activities as well. And I feel like that this site can be completely stabilized very easily, which would prevent any sediment from entering the lake. We just need to obviously get through this process, and I think that they could wrap things up pretty quickly. In my opinion, it'd be better that if the areas that are completed and stabilized remain that way, as opposed to ripping up some improvements, which would then cause additional potential for erosion and sedimentation of the lake. As long, really, as we make sure that we're not increasing runoff to the lake or runoff velocity. I do want to just pass out a couple of pictures. I didn't get a chance to upload them or send them to the staff in time.
Okay.
This is a picture on top of, kind of standing at the edge of the water, looking at the back of the house on top. And then the bottom picture is a picture of the south side of the house that was, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
It was stabilized with sod.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the purpose of this picture is, one, to show that we have a silt fence barrier in areas that are under construction, and that they have done a really nice job of stabilizing areas with lawn before they, as they were working, let's just say. So I do feel like they can continue with that process as long as we get permitted. So what we've done, so what I was speaking of before was that we need to ensure that we're not increasing runoff to the lake based on the increase in impervious coverage that was put down on the ground. So our recommendation to the applicant was, instead of paving their driveway, to install permeable pavers for the driveway surface. And permeable pavers, they look like normal pavers, typical concrete pavers, but the water can seep in between the crack, in between the pavers themselves, and then beneath the pavers, we have a very thick layer of crushed stone. And it's detailed on the plans. It's a couple different layers of different size stones. And what happens is the water that falls on the driveway goes through the pavers and settles in the stone, and then it seeps into the ground. Luckily, the soils here, based on the NRCS Web Soil Survey, are type A soils, which are very sandy soils, which really allow for a lot of stormwater infiltration. So to do this, they've started building the driveway already with your typical gravel base. They would have to rip up that gravel base, put the stone down, and then the pavers on top of that. So not too difficult, but a process that would allow the water to really just percolate into the ground. And we've had a lot of success with this over the past, 10 to 15 years or so on commercial parking lots and residential driveways, which it's worked out very well. I remember doing in Vernon a few commercial ones, a package store, which we did it all in pavers, and it came out great. And then we actually did permeable pavement for a car dealership, which actually turned out beautiful. And you stand there in the rain and you're wondering where the water is going. The water does not run off. It's really nice. So we did provide some calculations to the engineering department, indicating that the impervious coverage has really been reduced now with the permeable driveway from what was originally permitted. And we did runoff calculations that show that we're not increasing any runoff for any of the storms we analyzed, which were the 2, the 10, and the 100-year storm. What's also interesting, I want to hand out another picture. This is accidentally the same picture on top, but it's really the picture on the bottom that I wanted to show you. This is By chance, I wanted to point out the pavers on the bottom of that sheet I just handed to you. By chance, the owner selected a paver that's currently in place, which borders their patio, which is actually a permeable paver, meaning that the water can run off the patio and seep between those dark gray stones, which in that picture are not completed, but and get into the stone bed that's beneath it. So the reason I bring that up is two. One, we did not include that in our calculations just to be extra conservative. But two, what that also does is it reduces the velocity and the amount of water running from the patio to the lake. And what's important about reducing velocity is it reduces the potential for erosion and then sedimentation of the lake. So I felt like that's also a good aspect of this project.
Quick question, but this picture doesn't show that there's a joint filling material though in it, correct?
That's correct, right. Yep. But the material that does get placed between the stones, like your typical stones have this like gooey stuff that goes in between it, but you can put like a fine, almost like a pea stone between it, which allows the water to get through. Yep. So another thing I wanted to point out, which kind of shows on the left side of that upper picture, is the river rock landscape beds that we are proposing, which are new to these plans, which was not originally permitted. There's one already constructed on the south side near the water, and we're looking to do the same thing on the north side of the property. The river rock landscape beds I see provide two benefits to this property and the lake. The river rock provides good drainage due to its size and shape. Its smooth, round surfaces allow water to pass through them and in between them and get into the ground to essentially reduce runoff similar to a lawn would. And then secondly, the use of these river rock beds reduces lawn area on the property, which then reduces the potential for fertilization and then reduces nitrogen in the area for the lake, which I think is also a benefit for the lake and this property.
How does I assume that there is weed fabric
yes, there is.
under it?
There
How
is.
does that change the flow?
So the weed fabric is designed to allow water to go through it. It's just not.
But not quickly.
But not quickly, correct.
So does that increase flow to the?
So what we have is actually a bowl effect or a tub effect there where that area is depressed below the top elevation of the lake wall. So it may puddle a little bit within those stones, but we're not going to see it. And that water will just seep through the fabric and get through it into the ground. I did see that staff issued a pretty positive memo. They had a question regarding the purpose of an 8-inch PVC pipe terminating at the wall or the lake wall. And the applicant responded that that outlet is for clean water coming from the roof and from the footings of the building. And then I saw there was a memo today from the engineering department seemingly agreeing with our calculations, which was great, but had two questions. One being that there's a 6-inch PVC cleanout currently in the driveway. I wish I had something to point at, but just kind of in front of the house. And they asked that to be removed. The purpose of that was for the original permitted plan, there was a trench drain in the driveway to pick up water from the driveway and send it towards the lake. We don't need that anymore. We've got this permeable pavers. So that's something we can certainly do without, so we can cap off that pipe.
Excuse me.
And
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Just to what you just said. So that discharge pipe that's directly draining into the lake, because of the pavers, you don't need it anymore?
no, that's not what I was saying.
Okay, it's different pipe.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. Thank you. So we don't need the clean out that's in the driveway right now. And we're gonna cut off the top of that pipe so nothing goes into it from the driveway. So that pipe does go down, it'll only be picking up water from the roof and water from the footings, and it discharges at the lake wall, or through the lake wall, really. And the second concern of engineering was that they would prefer that it be, the termination of that pipe be, I'm not sure of a distance, but a few feet short of the lake. And the reason why it is where it is because the elevation of the footing is at 187, and the elevation of the lake wall is at 187.5, and we can't get a pipe from the footing to the lake wall, over the lake, or over the lake, to the ground above the lake wall without going uphill. So we need water to flow downhill, so we would prefer that we would keep that pipe in place, especially considering that we are discharging only clean water, and that discharging a pipe to a water body really prevents erosion than discharging it to the ground. So we feel that, in my opinion, we're only sending clean water to the lake, and all these, we're reducing runoff to the lake, and we're reducing the potential of sedimentation and nitrogen, and I don't feel like we're going to cause any adverse effects to the water body whatsoever. So with that, I'll gladly answer any questions that anybody might have.
These, the new pavers that you have,
Yep.
are they known to shift when the ground freezes, or?
Are they known to shift?
I don't think I've ever seen them like install before, so I don't
Yeah,
really
they-
know what they look like finished. So
Everything moves.
Everything moves a little bit, yep. They do require maintenance, and that maintenance could be picking weeds out of them, or there's actually they're checking them over after the winter because of, if you plow the driveway, you might knock one or something. What's very interesting with these is if you raise the plow up about an inch so you're never touching the ground and leave an inch of snow there, it'll just melt because of the warm air from the ground coming up. So it's really cool. And we could add there is a maintenance schedule on the detail as well. So I think with an upkeep of maintenance, they'll be fine.
Yeah, if it's the package store in Vernon that I'm thinking, they have not followed the maintenance plan.
They have
because
not.
The whole parking lot is just a disaster now, so that should be a indication.
Because I shouldn't have
to
brought up that
follow
one.
the maintenance plan.
I should have only mentioned the Chevy dealership.
Yeah, and especially with the de-icing, using the eco-friendly de-icer is really important. And I would also like to see no weed killer on there because the proximity to the lake.
Sure. I mean, I have seen people do a lot of burn weeding and stuff like that, which.
That's fine, but
Yeah. Chemical, yep.
Yes, so an engineering comment came in. Mr. Peterson went over it slightly. This was more so of a recommendation from the engineering department. He understood the elevation complexity with the 8-inch PVC footing drain that drains directly into the lake. He said there are no engineering concerns regarding the submitted drainage report. All these site changes appear to be above the FEMA-defined flood zone. Although the roof and footing drain water can be considered clean, the pipe should not drain directly into the lake. There should be a gap between the outlet and the lake as was shown on the original plan. The revised plan indicates a 6-inch PVC cleanout in the proposed paver driveway. And the last part was about Stephen's comment, which was satisfied. But it was a recommendation. When I had my conversation with John today about his comment, if there was anything that could be done that the applicant could explore, that'd be great. If not, then at least it's clean water. The other thing was, I wasn't sure how the agency wanted to go about this, but with the seawall maintenance, about maybe making a condition about seawall maintenance can be authorized as an agent approval, or if they should come back in for a wetlands permit. Trying to catch them early.
A couple questions. The Obviously, that's new hardscaping. I thought that we had, not we, but the agency had asked for an engineering report on the actual construction of the hardscaping itself. It appears that those are slabs of stone that have been placed over, I'm assuming, the previous seawall that was there before. Do you know?
Correct. The seawall it's a lake wall has not changed. And it was they had a concrete patio built into the wall, which those stones were placed on top of.
Okay, so do we know the height of, the change in height from what is actually,
I believe it's 29 inches.
and does that include the steps further up?
That does not include the steps further up, nope. That's right at the edge of the wall.
If that's actually holding a surcharge, then there's a requirement, if it's 3 feet or more, under the building code, you need an engineering document stating that that would be actually retain the surcharge. It's actually holding property back.
So we did submit a detail of the wall that was installed with the latest revision. There's stone behind that wall, and then further back is where the steps are.
Okay, does that?
Which is not part of the wall itself.
But in combination, it is retaining a surcharge, or is it not?
Well, I mean, how far back do you want to go? Back to the house and?
Well, I didn't.
That's what I'm just saying. Like the wall itself is only 29 inches tall.
Okay. And then how far back are the steps from the seawall, lake wall?
6, 7, 8, 10 feet.
It's roughly 10, but.
10 feet.
Let's see. Yeah, it's roughly 10 to 12 feet.
Well, I guess it's up to the agency what they want to choose to do. I mean, it is, to a certain extent, it is holding a surcharge between the steps and the new slabs on top of the existing seawall. I guess it's up to the agency what they really want to do.
So a concrete wall was put on top of the concrete slab.
Correct. And that's what, 29 inches, I'm assuming, I believe that's what you said, right? It was
That is
raised
what I
up
said, yep.
29 inches from the previously existing?
Yeah, concrete
you
wall and
have-
pavers.
So they're concrete gravity block wall is what it is, which are large blocks keyed into each other. Not a poured wall is what I'm getting at.
Right. Yeah, because this was done before we knew about it, and that had something to do with the cease and desist.
Correct.
So it would have been easier to have an engineer look at it before it was done. But, yeah, because I'm reading what was on here, the owner installed a concrete wall and pavers on top of the concrete slab, so lake will not overflow onto the new patio. And that's, I wish we had a picture of that we could see, other than just a little bit of hay bales, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you can kind of figure out the dimensions.
The only thing I think we submitted was a detail from the manufacturer of the wall itself, which I believe you guys have. I might have it here.
They have it.
Rosetta? From
We
Rosetta?
needed Rick
That
to
was
go
it,
out on
yeah.
a paddle boat and take,
It's basically an advertisement for the stones?
I don't know if I have it with me, but
I guess now my concern is we're going into heavy rainy season before everything else. What's to say that isn't going to collapse into the lake? Because you put new cement onto a slab, and that slab might have not have been designed to hold that much weight.
I've not done any work on that slab to be able to answer that thoroughly. these walls are designed for their weight themselves to support what's behind them and what they're holding up. So that wall, it's really stone behind them, but even if it was earth behind them, which would be heavier, they would be able to retain that based on their own physical mass.
Yeah, 'cause it says the outside edge of the patio consists of 1 or 2 courses of permeable pavers with stone beneath. So water can go below there, possibly, we live in New England, expand. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's gonna seep into the ground. It's like we've been talking about throughout this entire application. Yeah, water flows downhill. It's gonna eventually.
Do you know if they interlock in any way, or if they, to become one unit, or are they all just laid in place?
I believe that they are the tops and the bottoms are keyed into each other, is the way they typically build these, and then there's like a top stone, which is just decorative, so you don't see that on the top. Is my understanding.
We should have been able to see that before it was built.
Does engineering know that, about this? What do they think?
Engineering did not comment on that. It was more so the building department. If it actually, the structure is holding back 3 feet or more in height of any type of earth, it requires an actual engineering report to ensure that it's stabilized and won't move and will retain the surcharge, whatever it is.
John didn't have any major engineering concerns with the proposal, just about the pipes.
But he knew about the,
Everything that is submitted gets shared with our departments.
so he knew about it.
It's in here.
Is there a way to have it inspected and prove that it wouldn't, I mean, this is not my expertise, so if it's a dumb question, sorry.
No, it's not dumb.
Not easily.
Okay.
Now hypothetically, we approve it and something happens.
They have to fix it.
Oh, of course.
I hesitate approving an application if you're waiting on a geotechnical report. They'll have to do hard engineering for the building permit anyways. I mean, your best bet, if you want to wait for that report, would be a continuance. But if not, if you're confident with the building permit side of things, then. Yeah, and then if, worst case scenario, something happens, then they're looking at remediation and restoration.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it's more building.
Yeah.
The other issue with the propane tank, not that I question it at all, but, well, I guess maybe I do. Building department could go out there and actually inspect that to determine if it is a new propane tank, if it was in fact replaced, or if it was just covered with a new cover. So they're willing to do that, and that could be part of the conditions if you choose to do so also.
That just building department will inspect the
previously located propane tank.
If it's a new tank?
6.
You can make it. They will do.
When they say it's an old tank, so.
Yeah, Nelson said it's an old tank.
You know what 703
We'll do it. I already talked to them.
You know what 703
Yeah, so besides what you discussed tonight, everything is pretty much the same as noted in the staff report that Stephen prepared for you. All conditions from 703 still apply, which I'll pull up for you in just a second. Concrete wall detail shall be included on the final plans. Condition number 3, you don't really need. That's a standard updating note. Sometimes the site plans don't even have the year as a general reference. And then, of course, we don't need an erosion and sediment control bond. So, IW 703. Give me 1 second. I'll pull that up for you. Close it. Okay. So IW 703, granted on May 21st, 2024, did not have any particular conditions, the standard conditions, with the exception of a planting sheet noting plant types. So just standard conditions.
Thank you.
You could actually probably just remove that one
Yeah.
condition then.
Because the standard conditions still apply. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any questions? Anything else?
All right, I will make a motion to approve IW number 720, 14 West Shore Drive, modification of IW number 703, wetlands permit for a single-family home. Chelsea Aiken, applicant owner, map 80, lot 149, R33 zone, LOD, with the following site-specific conditions. Number 1, concrete block wall detail shall be included on the final plans. Number 2, final plans will show the removal of the 6-inch, will indicate the removal of the 6-inch clean out in the driveway. Number 4 is the permeable paver maintenance schedule will include that no chemical weed control will be used. I think it's number 4, actually.
I think you, yeah.
That was 3.
That was 3.
Yeah. Number 4 is agent approval for seawall maintenance will be approved as part of this approval. And number 5, the building department will inspect existing gas tank to ensure no tank replacement has been done.
Second.
Second.
Yep.
Got
Dylan,
everything? That was
I think we got it. I
everything?
think we got everything. Did we get it right? Yeah, I think so. Any more comments, concerns, discussion? Okay, roll call?
Donna Corbin Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris Renault.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Go on to the cease and desist, or
Yeah.
ready to?
So basically, the cease and desist was based on the work outside the original scope. Since you have the approval for the new, it kind of makes the cease and desist a moot point at this time, and we can remove
Close it out?
Yep.
Okay. So,
So I'll make a motion to lift the cease and desist for IW, or for 14 West Shore Drive.
Second.
Kelly seconded. Any discussion? Roll call?
Donna Corbin Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
Chris Renault.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. We're closing the cease and desist order.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Good luck with the project. Okay. Next is enforcement reports.
Nothing this week for me.
Wow.
That could change at any moment, but
That's right. Okay, planning staff report?
There's no update on the Steel Road?
No, they're still working on, hopefully next meeting.
Okay.
Planning and staff report?
Okay, so November 4th is our next scheduled meeting, but that is election day.
Yes.
So my question to you is, do you want to reschedule and do a special or cancel it entirely? After November 4th, you have November 18th.
Right. So we don't have any more applications.
We have nothing being received.
Right.
And everything was approved tonight, so nothing being continued. Unless any enforcement comes up, then,
If an enforcement comes, we could do a special meeting.
Yeah.
okay. So cancel it.
Everybody in favor of canceling November 4th?
Yes.
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 Okay, so then the next regular meeting will be November 18th.
Okay.
And that's all I had.
That's not Thanksgiving, right?
No.
No. You got another week or so.
We'll have a buffet.
Yeah. I have a question for miscellaneous now we're on. Anything else? No. So, a few weeks back, we asked Stephen if they'd sent a letter to the lakes because they're going to be lowering the lake, to remind them that if they do any kind of work that needs wetland approval.
I don't think,
I don't think he has. I'll take care of it this week.
Okay, because I saw that they are starting to drain it,
Yeah.
to lower it.
So they've changed the number of members on the board, I believe, and they have a new president of the association, so I'll contact him and
Yeah,
go
so
from
if
there
they
so
could-
they can send it out.
Remind them to please come before us.
Save you some work.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Georgie, is it too late to sign up for Kakiwik?
I believe the deadline was Friday, but
Okay.
let me ask Donna tomorrow morning and we'll shoot you an email if there's still time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Did anybody else miss out on Kakiwik or just Kelly? Okay. I will ask her, Kelly, and I'll let you know in the morning.
She didn't mean Donna. Yeah, two Donnas.
Georgie, for my own, do you know what is being done at exit 46?
Yes.
Route 5?
So clearing is an as-of-right activity unless there are wetlands involved. So right now, it's an industrial one parcel known as 1604 King Street, which is right next to the cemetery in terms of its site's access. They're just clearing. There are no plans submitted at this point in time, so I cannot make speculation or assumptions as to what they want to do. They are aware of the regulations, but as far as we can tell, it's just tree clearing unless they start getting in the escarpments.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, miscellaneous?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
8:42 p.m.
What time?
Ken, what time did you say?
8:43 p.m.
8:43. Ken, second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned.